also. And the water and resource scarcity is being faced by India, with 21 major cities expected to run out of groundwater by 2030, which will be affecting 40% of the population of India. All the negative things we are talking about, it is not something which is disturbing. And the climate vulnerability, India is also highly impacted by climate change. It is ranking 7th most affected in 2019, with over 90% of children at risk from pollution. So let us talk about the various forms of degradation. First, land degradation in India. India is also experiencing land degradation during 2015 to 2019. That is, during 4 years, India lost over 30 million hectares of healthy land to degradation. This is as per UNCCD data, which accounts for almost 10% of all the country's entire land mass. This is what is happening in India, and the highest affected states being Rajasthan, Maharashtra, Gujarat, Karnataka, Ladakh, Jharkhand, Odisha, Madhya Pradesh, and Telangana, which accounts for 23.79% of the total degradation. The primary causes of the land degradation in India is mainly due to water erosion, vegetation degradation, and wind erosion. So with this land degradation, India is also exposed to drought. 854.4 million of the country's people are exposed to drought from 2015 to 2018. And what about Mizoram? In Mizoram also we are facing land degradation because we are involved in the shifting cultivation, and because of our topography, rainfall, and anthropogenic pressure and forest degradations, Mizoram is experiencing land degradations, and 20.64% of the state suffers from degradation, which is resulting into severe soil erosion, landslides, deforestation, and reduced agricultural productivity. And this map shows the wastelands changes in Mizoram during the period of, as mentioned here. So let us talk about deforestation a little bit in India. So India is having a good forest cover as we know it. In fact, it ranks 9th globally in total forest area according to GFRA 2025. But the problem is that although India is having a good forest cover, again deforestation is a common phenomenon in India as we know it. In fact, India is hosting biodiversity hotspots, 4 of them which are in the northeastern region, and about 75% of the forest cover is concentrated in the northeastern states as in Mizoram, Arunachal Pradesh, and Nagaland. But despite this, our forest is being degraded. As shown in this slide, India faces a critical deforestation. It loses 668,400 hectares of forest just in between 2015 and 2020, and the primary forest impact is India lost 18,200 hectares of primary forest in 2024, and the regional hotspots are Arunachal Pradesh recorded the highest primary forest loss, and the main drivers behind the deforestation in India is agricultural expansion, infrastructure development, mining, and timber harvesting. And here I want to point out that there is a contradicting data because there is a discrepancy between the government reports like our ISFR, and which shows a rise in total cover, whereas the independent reports like this, the Global Forest Watch, it is showing the substantial loss in natural forests. Our forest department representatives are here. I think they will like to clarify on this in the following session maybe. So what about Mizoram? We all know that Mizoram remains one of the India's most forest-rich states. It has exceptionally high density of a forest with a reported 84.53% coverage. But we know that in Mizoram the forest is a very dense forest, and the moderately dense forest, open forest. Although we have a total forest cover of 18,000 square kilometer, majority is of open forest, and the very dense forest we have only 157 square kilometer that is also being threatened. Although forest cover is high, the state is experiencing regular fire alerts, and because of that, and because of the timber, we take timbers from the forest, and deforestation is happening. Because of that, we are losing our forests annually. And again, here in this slide, it is shown that there is a forest cover changes in India, showing that Mizoram is leading India with a 0.75 forest cover increase. This again may be discussed later on. So deforestation in Mizoram is the primary drivers behind this shifting cultivation. Developmental projects are coming up, and the timber extraction is common, and the forest fires. Because of these factors, we are losing our forests, and the state experienced an annual average decrease of 162 square kilometer of dense forest, with 186 square kilometer lost between 2019 and 2021. So coming to the air quality degradation in India, before we proceed, I would just like to brief about how air quality monitoring is taken up in India. Air quality monitoring network is established by the Central Pollution Control Board under National Air Quality Monitoring Program, NAMP. Under this program, CPCB is operating in total 966 manual stations, which are operated in 419 cities, towns, covering 28 states and 7 union territories of the country. And even the rural network exists, which consists of 26 stations in 26 villages. And these are about the manual stations. In addition to the manual stations, CPCB is also operating continuous ambient air quality monitoring stations, which is known as CAAQMS. And this CAAQMS is a nationwide network. It is for real-time air pollution tracking across India. Why CAAQMS is more beneficial is because it gives the real-time data automatically for 24 hours, so we can get the idea about the air quality of a specific area where CAAQMS exists instantly. So and besides, this CAAQMS measures as many as 12 parameters, air pollutants. So about Mizoram, air quality monitoring network is also established in Mizoram, which is operated by Mizoram Pollution Control Board. So under NAMP, the MPCB is monitoring air quality of Mizoram from 34 number of manual stations, and we cover 11 district headquarters, some census towns and rural areas. As we can see here in the picture, first picture is the manual station, which is set up at Site 1. Manual station, the problem is that data we do not get instantly because we have to take sample from these stations, like from air sampler, and then take the sample home in the laboratory and get it analyzed. Within 2 days only we are able to get the data. So as I said before, CAAQMS, which is a continuous real-time analysis system, is very more beneficial, which we have established at Sikulpipon-Aizawl. And the advantage of this system is that the data gets displayed automatically for the public to see. As we can see in the second picture, this is the display board which we are keeping at Sikulpipon. Anybody can have a look at it at any time. So this is very informative, and I would like to advise you all to have a look at it when you pass through the Sikulpipon area to get the idea about the air quality of that area at a particular any time. So environmental quality standard, just to for you to have a little bit idea about the standards. Ministry of Environment, Forest and Climate Change, they have notified National Ambient Air Quality Standards for all the pollutants, air pollutants which are being measured. So this is published in 2009. Like as we can see, sulfur dioxide, nitrogen dioxide, particulate matter, PM10, PM2.5, ozone. I'm just showing 5 of them, but there are 12 parameters which are being notified. The standard means permissible limit which is permitted by the government for the health benefits. Like for example, if PM2.5 annual average here, it is given 40. So this is annual average, and for the daily average it is 60. And also at the same time, WHO also is having air quality guidelines, but this is not standard, this is guidelines. It is a little bit difference is there. It is not that it doesn't have any, legal obligations. but just for something like an advisory. So if you compare the guidelines of WHO and these ministry standards, we can see that WHO guidelines is more strict. It is much more strict, just CPM 2.5, annual average standard is 40 as per our nation's standard. But according to the WHO guidelines, it is only 10. So there is a lot of difference in that. Even if we pass the national standards, we may always fall behind of these WHO guidelines. Just for the knowledge, I'm sharing this one. So as we can see here, there are different air quality parameters which we can measure. So it can be a bit confusing. When you look at the data, you will see that there are lots of parameters written there and the data there. You don't know, like for example, sulfur dioxide may be low and PM10 may be quite high. You don't know how to perceive that, whether the pollution level is high or not. So a formula is there. So this is air quality index. This is a tool for the public, for the common people to understand what is the general trend of the air quality, instead of going to all the results of the parameters. So all the results of the parameters we are getting from various parameters, they are computed in a system so that a single number comes out having a color code. So easily we can say what is the air quality. For example, if the AQI is 0 to 15, so this category is the best one, so it is good. Here, this is a good quality, and the color code also is given the dark green. So like this, the trend is coming up. So 0 to 50 is the best category, and if it reaches up to 400 to 500, this is severely polluted. The worst one. Yes, like this we can understand, because nowadays everybody is talking in terms of AQI instead of going to the pollutants concentrations. So we should try to have a little bit idea on this. If the AQI value ranges from 0 to 50, we should think that air quality is the best one. Yeah, and if it ranges from 0 to 100, a little bit we can feel okay, because 51 to 100 is satisfactory. But if the AQI is above 100, we should start thinking that it is okay, the air quality is not that good. It is moderately polluted if it is 101 to 200, and it is poor, very poor and severe. If it is 500 and above 500 also can be detected, okay, but then this is considered to be the maximum as far as the system can measure, 500, but of course it can go much beyond 500. Even in Delhi, they have experienced even as high as 1,000 sometimes, but that was monitored by some private system. We don't know about that. So based on WHO and IQ Air data, as of early 2026, India remains one of the world's most polluted nations, with average concentration exceeding World Health Organization safe limits by over 10 times. Because we already told the WHO guidelines is very strict, it is the guidelines very low. So India is the 5th most polluted country. Like we said, we all know that Delhi, it is among the most polluted capitals, continues to be globally. And the 6 of the world's 10 most polluted cities and 13 of the top 20 are in India. And this air pollution in India causes approximately 2 million premature deaths in India every year. These informations and data alone shows that our air quality as in India is deteriorating annually. So this is to show that as per the latest report 2024, this is the most polluted cities in the world, and as we can see that many cities within India are appearing here. In fact, the most polluted city here, Bernihat, India. So Sir is here from Shillong. I think he can elaborate on this later on, why Bernihat comes to be the most polluted city, because it is an industrial area and it is in the border of Meghalaya and Assam. And lots of dust pollution is going on there, but I heard that there is a lot of actions going on for restoration, so they may have improved. Sir will enlighten us later on, hopefully. This is what is our situation in India. Like I have touched a little bit on PM 2.5, particulate matters pollutants, these are the prominent ones, even in Mizoram. Because gases pollutants like NO2, SO2, although we measure it, they are mostly below the standards. We don't have problems much as of now with the gaseous pollutants, but our main concern is particulate matters. Particulate matters are of two kinds. PM10, you may have often seen it. PM10 means the size is a little bit bigger, that is the size less than 10 micron, up to 10 micron is classified as PM10, particulate matters. If it is smaller and if the diameter of the size is up to 2.5 micron, that is what PM 2.5. Like I have said, PM 2.5 is the main concerning pollutant in India. Because of this, India is facing a problem because of this PM 2.5, and in fact 1.67 million deaths already occurred during the year 2019. This is according to the recent World Bank Research report, which is released in June 2024. Why it is PM 2.5 is more concerning is because it is a very small, minute particles, and it can enter the lungs and bloodstream. So it causes cardiovascular diseases and respiratory issues and even cancer. So we have to, we really have to worry about this particular pollutant, and this pollutant is coming from fossil fuel combustion and vehicular movements. So while we try to combat this particular problem, we have to focus on these sources. So now we say that India is facing air pollution problems. It is so disastrous that even the government is trying to combat this air pollution problem. In fact, it has launched a very good program, which is National Clean Air Program, NCAP. In 2019 by the Ministry of Environment, Forest and Climate Change. This National Clean Air Program, NCAP, is the India's flagship program. It is through this program, India is trying to improve the air quality, and it aims for a 40% reduction in particulate matter, PM10 concentration by 2025 to 26. But then this one we have not achieved so far, so it is updated by 26 to 27. So under this program, the government has taken up some more polluted cities in the country, which are called non-attainment cities. Now we have 131 non-attainment cities, which means that these cities are those cities where the PM10 particulate matter concentration exceeds the national standard for 5 consecutive years. This point let us try to remember. 131 non-attainment cities means that those cities which have exceeded the standards in respect of PM10 for 5 consecutive years. So through this program, India is trying to improve the air quality, targeting these non-attainment cities. As we can see in this map, even in the northeast from the northeastern states, we are having Assam, Meghalaya and Nagaland are having non-attainment cities. Luckily, as of now, Mizoram is not having, but we are close to having non-attainment cities, which we will be showing in the latest slide. Sorry. So Mizoram air quality, we must be interested in this air quality trend in Mizoram. This, unfortunately, I'm not able to show all the data that we have. As I have said, air quality monitoring is started in Mizoram since 2005, and we have an extensive data, but it is not possible to show everything here. So here we are just showing from 2019 to 2025 annual air quality index. So as we can see, we have already explained that if the water air quality is very good in the best category, it will be showing dark green. Yeah, and the next level is light green, next one yellow. So you can just see, I don't know if it is, if you can see it clearly. So here, most of the time, annual average, annual AQI average, if you look into it, during these during these past 7 years, this air quality AQI falls in the good category between 0 to 50. Okay. So, but we see that we are noticing this the light green and the light yellow and dark yellow. That means that there are 2 stations, that is Bongkon, Aizawl and Dorpui, as well as here in the Serial 21 along L4. Here we are observing a yellow color. That means the trend is like this. Air quality is getting deteriorated annually. This is the proof. So that means based on the monthly data, this is average annual. If you are looking into the monthly data, we observe that sometimes AQI value is increased. Sometimes we are getting yellow, and sometimes almost close to the poorly polluted. So this is how the trend goes in respect of the air quality in Mizoram. I hope you get the idea. And this shows that the 2 locations I have said, Bongkon, Dorpui, as well as this along Taitan, Marine, L4, these are getting close to being non-attainment cities, especially Bongkon and Dorpui. We have observed that the concentration of PM10 have exceeded the limit for 4 consecutive years. If the trend goes on like this, very soon we are going to have Bongkon and Dorpui declared as non-attainment cities among those 131 cities in India. This is our situation. It is not something to be happy or relaxed about. So the highest AQI ever recorded in Aizawl, it is on the night of the New Year celebration, 2023 midnight. Here we have, but this is early average between 12 to 1 a.m. It is not a daily average, it is only early average, but still it reaches the maximum limit of 500 AQI. This is severely polluted. It is comparable to Delhi. But then one thing is that after this period, this early time, the AQI goes down. So ultimately, daily average, we get so much reduced. But still, if we are able to attain this much high during any period of time, again, we should not be feeling relaxed on this because of this is why it happened, because of the fire cracking. Yeah, this one.
Thank you.
So I said that we have a comprehensive data of air quality from the various sources, 34 stations, as well as the QMS Institute. We got all these data. In case you are interested, it is readily made available and accessible to Mizoram Pollution Control Board website. It is shown here, and as well as mobile applications which we have set up. This is you can get it from your mobile. So all the data you can see. Unfortunately, I cannot show it here. And in parallel to the air quality monitoring in India, we also have water quality monitoring network, which is established by Central Pollution Control Board. It is in collaboration with State Pollution Control Board, because the State Pollution Control Boards are responsible for operating all these water quality monitoring stations. Presently, water quality monitoring network under NWMP comprises of 4,400. Okay, it is coming anyway. Just to save time, I'll just continue speaking. So water quality monitoring work, it is undertaken by CPCB, as I mentioned. So under NWMP, Mizoram Pollution Control Board is also operating as many as 121 water quality monitoring stations, which are located all over the state, and we cover sources like surface water, river streams, lakes, underground reservoirs, and water flow located all over the state. From these water quality monitoring stations, Mizoram Pollution Control Board, MPCB, is monitoring water on a monthly basis regularly, and the data is being submitted to the Central Pollution Control Board. Apart from these 121 water quality monitoring stations, MPCB is also operating 4 locations, having its own network. We are talking about all the gradations, and so it must be boring, I don't know. But anyway, all these things just to show and indicate that our environment is getting threatened, and we need to act individually or in coordinations with the enforcing agencies. So if I think I will continue. So water pollution and its degradation in India, these are some of the facts I have just listed out again just to show that the water pollution is very severe in India, and the water pollution in India is in fact in the critical conditions. Almost 40 million liters of wastewater enter India's water bodies each day, it is because that the infrastructures also we need to strengthen, because we don't have enough STP, ETP to deal with all this wastewater. And the contamination level is such that 70% of the surface water has become unfit for human consumption in India. And as many as 600 million people are facing high to extreme water stress today. Okay, I will just be continuing. So the industrial pollution, because of this, water pollution is also happening, and because in India we have so many industries which are generating 13,468 million liters per day, which are of course not treated. That is why water pollution in India is escalated. Even the domestic sewage plays a crucial role in the increase of water pollution in India. Only 28% of our sewage in India is treated before being released. All these are contributing to the increase in water pollution in India. And we have polluted rivers identified in India. As per CPCB reports 2025, polluted river stretches in India are in number of 296 have been identified on 271 rivers across 32 states. And there is a good news here, because in the earlier report 2018 we have 351 polluted river stretches, now reduced to 296 polluted river stretches. And the criteria how polluted river is identified is based on BOD level, biochemical oxygen demand. If BOD level is less than 3.126 milligram per liter, it is classified as priority 5, which is the least polluted. And if BOD level crosses 30.1 milligram per liter, that river is classified as severely polluted, and it comes under priority 1. So the priority extends from priority 1 to 5. And the most polluted rivers, according to the report of CPCB, are Yamuna, Ganga, Sabarmati, Godavari, and Musi. And for these here polluted rivers for restoration, NGT, Honorable NGT has intervened, and there is OS 73 2008. As per this order, NGT order, all the polluted rivers are to be rejuvenated within 2 years, for which action plan has to be prepared by the respective river rejuvenation committee, which is to be formed in each state. What about Mizoram? Mizoram also we have polluted rivers. As per the CPCB report, in fact in the 2018 report, Mizoram has 9 polluted rivers, that is Chiao, Tong, Tui, Tuivol, Chitte, Matsai, Ka, Tuikwal, and Tuirial. And the most polluted one is Chiao, which falls under priority 3. I don't know, there is some contradictory thing maybe here, because if BOD level is above 3 milligram per liter at any point of time, even once a year, which is counted as polluted. That is why for us it is very difficult, because as we understand that during the rainy seasons, all the waves are falling down to our rivers, and the turbidity also is very high. That time during the monsoon period, even if just for 1 month's data, if BOD level is more than 300, it is classified as polluted. So that is why we are having more polluted rivers than expected. That could be one of the reasons. Anyway, as per the directions of the Honorable NGT, actions were taken by the State Government of Mizoram, and the River Regeneration Committee (RCC) was formed under the chairmanship of Principal Secretary EFLCC Department on 15/12/2018, and they have prepared the action plan in coordination with MPCB. So this is the action, the cover I have just shared here. We have a perfectly formulated action plan for conservation of these identified 9 polluted rivers, and the actions are being taken by the concerned stakeholders, and it is a very good achievement that we were able to delete 7 polluted rivers from the list. And because they have, during the period, they have achieved the desired level of BOD. So in the following CPC report 2025, we are just left with 4 polluted rivers. Anyway, 2 from the previous list, 7 were deleted out, but unfortunately we have 2 more newly added. So with this, we are having the polluted rivers, Chitta Stream, Tuipal Stream, Loibwal, and Tuipui. And we have to work hard on this so that these polluted rivers identified could be deleted in the near future. So let us talk about the key environmental challenges in India. We have talked so much about the degradation and what we have failed. But environmental challenges in India, it points to the air pollution, water pollution, deforestation, land degradation, climate change, biodiversity loss, waste management. All of us are understanding and we are hearing about this all the time. So I will not go into details as it is listed out here. So in the context of Mizoram, what are the key environmental challenges that is being faced by Mizoram? We know that deforestation and land degradation is one of the major issues that is being faced by the state of Mizoram because of the zone shifting cultivation, urban expansion and infrastructure projects such as road projects are coming up. We know that improper waste management, we don't have enough facilities, infrastructures for the waste management. So far, we have only one STP, 10 MLD, which also is not in the full operation. That is why we are facing problems in the proper waste management, and the climate change and extreme weather. Mizoram is also highly vulnerable to climate-induced hazards. And the water scarcity, we all know this. During the monsoon season, we may have enough water, but once the dry season comes, what we are facing is the water scarcity. Not only because of the quantity, but because the quality is also, we are degrading it with all our waste going into our river. And the natural disaster is also a common phenomenon in the state because it falls under seismic zone 5, which is making it highly susceptible to earthquakes. Landslide is also very common. We are experiencing and we know it with nearly 600 reported in the early 2025 alone. And urbanization and pollution, of course, that we already know, it is the problem which is being faced by Mizoram. These are some of the major key environmental challenges that are being faced by our state. We may have some more points to add, but this is just the key challenges that I have as shown here. And let us go to the future prospect and solutions. Now we come to know about the environmental challenges that our country, even our state, are facing. And what about the solution? Do we have solutions? What can we do about it? The first and foremost is the environmental policy and regulations. These environmental policy and regulations, it is very important. In fact, India has already several environmental regulations in place to address the country's environmental issues, some of which we have listed out here. Air prevention and control of pollution in 1981 to prevent and control air pollution in India by regulating emissions from the industries and vehicles. And the Water Act also we have, which is called Water Prevention and Control of Pollution Act 1974, which aims to prevent, control and abate water pollution in India. And we also have National Green Tribunal Act 2010. Under this, we have the National Green Tribunal, which is a specialized court for environmental disputes and gives the power to hear and dispose of cases related to environment protection and conservation. And of course, we have Environment Protection Act 1986, Forest Conservation Act 1980, Wildlife Protection Act 1972, and we also have various waste management management rules which are framed under Environment Protection Act 1986, such as solid waste management rules, biomedical waste management rules, plastic waste, e-waste, hazardous waste, and so on. I mean that these are just some of the environmental policies and regulations which are in existence today. Of course, there are so many others. I'm just showing this thing just to show that India is already having good enough laws and policies to protect the environment. But the problem is, the question is, are we implementing it good, or the enforcement is good enough? Where do we fail? So in continuation with that one, okay, I cannot go in details to all the provisions cited under this act, but I just want to have a brief outlines on these key provisions for control of pollution under Water Act. Of course, in the later stage, in the following sessions, we will be discussing more in details about this, but I just want to show here, before everybody here, what are the key provisions for control of pollution under Water Act. The Act mandates the creation of CPCB and SPCB, State Pollution Control Boards. The role is such that to advise the governments to coordinate the activities and establish standards for sewage and trade effluents. And the consent to operate, this is very important part. Under Section 25-26 of Water Act, all industries, irrespective of their size, investment, operations and disposal system, whichever industries falls under the categorization of industries specified by CPCB, they have to have consent from the respective State Pollution Control Board before they are established or in operation. This part is very important, let us try to remember it. And setting standards and monitoring, and the State Pollution Control Boards are also empowered to lay down standards for effluents and monitoring compliance. But so far CPCB has done all this identification of the standards and conditions, so we don't have, right as of now, Mizoram, we don't have specific standards, we are just relying on the standards prescribed by CPCB. And the power of entry and inspection. This point is important. Both officials, we are authorized to enter, inspect, take samples of effluents from any industry at any point of time. Nobody can obstruct us. As means in pollution control board, prohibition on pollution. No person under Section 24, no person is allowed to knowingly cause or permit the entry of poisonous, noxious or polluting matter into streams or where nobody is allowed. Under this, this is a restriction in general term. So emergency measures, in case of emergency, if any emergency happening is there in the water body, SPCB can take immediate action to remove polluting matter and if necessary to prevent pollution. These are some of the key important provisions under the Water Act for us to know and understand. So under Water Act, this Section 25 and 26, let us elaborate a little bit further. We're talking about the requirement of consent for industry. CPCB classification of industry for industrial consent. On the right side, you can see that it is classified into 5 categories. The red category of industry is those industries having pollution index greater than 80. And orange, pollution index was between 55, 80 and so on. Lastly, we have blue categories. This is a newly categorized industry identified by CPCB. This includes those industries, they are offering essential environmental services, maybe for example, solid waste management center. This is classified as blue. All these industries, whatever industries, even if it is a tiny cottage industry, if it falls under this CPCB classification of industries, they are required consent to establish before establishing. This point is very important. What we encounter so far is that they come for consent, but after establishment, everything is set up, they come to us for consent. So this is violating. So before starting any industry, they should come to Pollution Control Board and apply for consent to establish, and we go and inspect the site. And if the location, everything is all right, then we give consent to establish with conditions for compliance. Only after complying with the conditions, then they will apply again for consent to operate once the industry is ready to take up. So at that time, again, we will go and inspect it, and then again give, if everything is all right, we give consent to operate, conditions, cited conditions for compliance. It is a 2-tier system, consent to establish, consent to operate. Most of the violation is at this stage. So what happens if the industry is operating without consent, or if there is any violation of conditions, or if there is a failure of compliance according to the conditions cited in the certificate? So there is stringent penalties, which is even magnified as per 1988 amendment. The penalties are increased, which now include 3 months to 7 years of imprisonment for violations, and allow citizens to file complaints. And again, in 2024 amendment, we have decriminalized certain violations. Imprisonment term is now replaced with monetary penalties, which range from rupees 10,000 to rupees 15 lakhs. These are some of the penalties which are intensified. So, and pollution control boards, state pollution control boards also have a power to give directions. Like if in case of violations or non-compliance, industries can be directed to stop operations, or even the supply of electricity or water that can be stopped by the State Pollution Control Board to those industries violating the norms. And there is the Supreme Court's final ruling on the level of environmental compensation by State Pollution Control Board. This we might be interested to know because it was in the news. We saw it that now State Pollution Control Board is now so powerful. People are saying because Supreme Court is giving power to levy environmental compensation to all the violating units or whoever is violating the acts. But it is not exactly so. This Supreme Court's ruling comes up. It is if you look into the case background, the thing is that Delhi Pollution Control Board, they have issued orders for the monetary compensations to some of the industries which were operating without valid consent on polluters pay principle. So these orders, it was cancelled by the Delhi High Court, saying that this imposing penalty should be done only by the court, but not by the State Pollution Control Board. Again, the Delhi Pollution Control Board challenged the High Court ruling in 2012. So finally, Supreme Court, via its order dated 4th August 2025, overturned the decision of the High Court and has come up with the ruling that State Pollution Control Boards are empowered to impose environmental compensation on polluting entities as per their statutory mandates under the Water Act and Air Act, which may be as a fixed sum of money or bank guarantees under Section 33A Water Act and 31A Air Act for restoring the environmental damages. The penalty is for environmental damages for recovery. But Supreme Court is very cautious on this ruling. The caution is that it should be levied only on actual environmental damages. We cannot simply charge anybody who is known or thought to be causing pollution, this environmental compensation. It has to be done very carefully. There has to be some actual evidences. This we all understand that. Because sometimes we got a request from some environmental activities, why don't you charge environmental compensation, this is polluting, this is violating the law. But simply going and doing that on the spot is not possible. There has to be some certain evidences, and legal evidences is required on this. And it also states that, the Supreme Court also states that power to be exercised, it is only after framing subordinate legislation under the Acts. This Mizoram Pollution Control Board, we don't know exactly the legal terms here, so we have written to Central Pollution Control Board for advice. Again, in the later technical panel discussion time, maybe we can have a discussion on this, how to go about this thing. And moreover, whoever is going to be charged for this environmental compensation, we should be giving them the opportunity of being heard. That is to follow the principles of natural justice. And one thing I just want to mention here, before all these rulings come into being, earlier Mizoram Pollution Control Board has done this compensation, environmental compensation leveling to the NHIDCL. In the case of P. Varamswamy versus NHIDCL case, it was ongoing, and During this process, Mizoram Pollution Control Board, as advised by the state government, we have issued an order to NHIDCL on 4th September 2023, and we are asking them to deposit rupees 5.9 lakhs, 70,000. This is on September 2023. We base the CPCB guidelines on the assessment of environmental compensation on industries. Okay, so we consider this one as one of the industries and we charge them, but of course, as I have said, this NHIDCL, we know that they rarely fought back with a strong legal backup they have. So the case is going on. Until now, there is no verdict of the NGT on this case. It is still a pending case. So in this measure, so far I was talking about the legislation, the rules, the provisions under it. This is there. Okay, it is established that India is giving enough good, strong legislations and the rules for combating this pollution. But continuing that, India is also having a very good environmental initiatives, various programs in place. If these programs, initiatives are undertaken successfully, of course there will be a progress in that. Under climate change and energy also we are having this, I will not read out. Under pollution control and waste management we have Swachh Bharat Mission, National Clean Air Program, BS4 norms, restrictions. And under ecosystem biodiversity conservation we have Green India Mission, different programs are there. Water conservation we have national water missions like that. So the key challenge and the solutions to combat environmental issues. So as I said, policy and regulation is there, but weak enforcement is the problem. The law exists, strong environmental laws exist, but the implementation part is always the problem. So institutional strengthening, the enforcing authorities also need to be strengthened, and we have to balance development and environment. Even in our state, developmental works, lots of them are coming up. We have to, we should not be opposing to that, but at the same time, we also should take the environmental protection. Okay, I'll just take 5 minutes more because I want to have these environmental issues in Mizoram too. Just give me 5 minutes to complete this. Environmental issues in Mizoram too. Let's say environmental issues Mizoram can face Dun huna kan face alian wal le mai koi mo ngai em dun huna ko kan seminar ko kan soi ko ta na han chok chwa du de ko ta nei bok sia kan di de zu manga developmental projects tu na cha Mizoram ma chuan kan problem lia very need to ro thil dam tam chu enga po ni ta se developmental works kan ti chuan bi ta bi road construction tu na han highway construction project simle par chakle thanga chu ka tam me mani heng hi engineer kan ti problem atama hi bi puyan thin they got their film Omani, he and Vangia can teach what he problems and Vangia can teach what a tira that can some low family will be at one. Natina Sui to a dad shut up, tuck in their rules and regulations. Come on, so a car, a some lama here than food, AMC, developmental projects, central construction, box depot on Oma, any anti tour, hit to unship to Renia, and Shipokanga, a chen hit to ignore the walk for the here, can say to a two highway construction projects, State Pollution Control Board training consent and Lamasangeni to run the Hinatinakan Tilan CPCB classification of new highway construction here at Omta concept and the Turania, Duna Hitwan attack Queen and Lawama Rotkan Nor Nasa, Hikan and Lava, India Koya, the Timani, and Golden and Dorale, Hatten Barbal, consent and Turingan in Shinasani. So on highway projects, 300 Kanshia, he needs to line of control board or 100 kilometers and needs one environmental clearance and mamolo and exempt must say exemption and condition and two condition and two SOP and the EFNCC ministry card in heavy need February 2023 ni rukai hian itwaka he SOP via hian environmental safeguards point tam taka oma chu chung chu an zom chobin environmental clearance an exam ani he environmental clearance an exam hi an khachuan ta tu emi ti thei tur ania tu na chuan thil tak tak hian bypass ta chu ba chuan hi kan ngai poi mo mi dang lai local com te pon shrit da ila I environmental clearance an mo lo ni po in SOP hi an som tur ani environmental safeguard chu ma chuan nge kan ti chuan bol ani an lei fu ma hi kan noi na ber chu ni ta Mizoram ma chuan lei fu hi du na mu na apai thyang da wa approve map disposal site nei tur ani a kha site kha construct fel vek potanga as per approved map disposal plan hangina siam fel vek nuwa cho a lei fu ma kha apai thyang tu na kan kal dan ni chu in reverse ka ni en ki man set up vek a lei fu man pai du to kan pai tu a concept jan ron deal le nu a kan tan han I pollution control board la ma thu nei tu dang te pon yang forest department te po che thi a har em ta helaya hianin tim thu nei na hi in claim in overlap de om them ti te I terrace mar shang shang atang in lo ma forest ka min clearance an lo te a an ni an ti that lowin an lo stay ya ke ni lang an ti that lowin kan lo stay be bo ka pakhatina stay phela pakhatina lo stay ya khatia am thil te kha om the ni chu ba chuanin heta enforcing essences ho ba hi chu in collaborate heta engi mani policy mo mal deu hi dual chwa ko ngai ni theya chung chu kan problem lian tak ni ka sha a I ene tu nang la ya environmental development project chu cha ga environmental protection le development works akal ko the ni sustain the ni ti kha bil ru in sha ila kan tu mangai dan kan so mangai water pollution ni so tam ta ko ma infrastructure la ma ko kan la fum ko ka so environmental laws kan nei tha kan ni to a enforcement lam kha kan chakangai dilution lam hi a om de be mo ti thein thila om chu ba chuan dilute ai chuan kan enhance zo ka ngai din a om sa ko hi kan enforce thatangai ka kan enforce that thei lo chan ni chan tam ta ka om thei ni at thil khata chuan a enforcing authority te in tha da wang an thok tok lo an ngai sam tok lo amo po ani theya tin an institutional weakness an nei po ni theya I an na thok in dai lo te resources an nei thalo thei te ani ta he NGT case pakhatau ma swam to ani he he a chu OS 693 2023 maya hian NGT chuan pollution control boards are the weak links ati tok me ni a chan chu enwange pollution control board chen state kina ngai sak an ho tok lo deu ani mai thei I state sarkar tina anti chakangai ani ati a chu wang chuan heta a weakness ni anga appoint ron da hi chu staff in dai lo te infrastructure laboratory a bikin infrastructure thatho lo wang te ani ta chu wang chuan in state government zong kha vacant post fill up turin state sarkar te chu a shat ti ta tin laboratory te pot ti chamthum turin chu tu na hianin scheme khatle sanga le ti sanction post state pollution control board zong ma chinga ya sama zaruk sari pakhati NGT chuan vacant post anga ada ani a chu Mizoram pi khakan ron highlight te le sham do I notice te ta hian thei kan nai vai pali kan ron tar langa Mizoram han sanction post of pali cha kan ne vacant pali kan ne ya kan na tam tu ru zai ni tin hanin developmental ko ka tam to sia an le fu pa ti kem ti an decree mo than ni ti na thok ko te kan ne ya tu na han kan staff din hun han clear la som pali regular kan ne ya tu mi si ngai han UDC ka tem kla zo man tel technical page chu paria cha kan ne ya engineer pakhat scientist pakhat chung zong chan heng zong na ron tam chho lu tu developmental works te thata ka kal pui tur en dik tur han kan in dai thon lo ni thi kha ni sha pui ve na ti na kan se te to ni se hela ya vacant post bali ni Mizoram sarkar po yan fill up tur te chuan ma an lama sa be tham lu tu ka he fill up po ni ila kan staff strength hi kan overburden lu tu ka kan duty sa ha chu ba chan hela hi he kan state dang te han clear la assam te chuan sa ti le te ne Manipur Meghalaya sa chuang sanction post ani Mizoram ina so pali zo state board ina nei hi chu kan environment kan sarkar level to mo kan ti le bo kan ngai zut na de oi mo kan ti na hi hei hian atilang in Asia ta ni chu ba chuan in strengthening hi amai loi moya it is a matter of urgency ani ti ka shela hi next year April la don le ngala enge din hun fill up to everyone this ka report ron di renga NGT hian chu ti lai ka ra for fill up poi har me ma chu pi ba ka chuan additional staff a basic at least 40 to 50 staff to ka te ngai ni ka chei dua lastly mission lifestyle for the environment. Hem zong zong kan soi kar ai han apoi mo per at individual attitude kan thakin ya kan bad habits lo ne environment ta na thalong zong zong hi kal sanila again which sustainable lifestyle for the environment adoptum to let's all try to be pro planet people. Thank you.
Hello. A very good afternoon to the Honorable Chief Justice, Guwahati High Court, to all the Honorable Judges and all the esteemed members of this august gathering. I would foremost like to thank Madam for giving an overview of the environmental degradation, covering a very broad range of issues, including land, water, as well as air pollution in India and in Mizoram in particular. We've been made aware of the very precarious situation that we are in, and especially with Ma'am has given a lot of data for our information, and the data that India has 63 out of the 100 most polluted cities is a very scary scenario. So now, since we are running short of time, I would request all the panel members to kindly proceed to the stage so that we can discuss some of the takeaways from the discussion, from the presentation. And also I would request all the panel members to kindly limit themselves to 5 minutes if possible, since we have to break for lunch. So before we begin, just a very broad overview, some of the takeaways from Madam's presentation. One, probably the precariousness of the situation. Secondly, the urgency of the situation, since the clock is ticking, as she has shown in many of the slides that the situation is really bad. Also the interlinkages in the system about how every action has a kind of a ripple effect on the environment, and also how technology and incentives can be inbuilt into the system to achieve results and have a balance somewhere between development as well as environmental protection. So I would request the panelist members to kindly take off from here and kindly please be conscious of the time constraint that we have. Thank you.
Very good afternoon to everyone. I am Veronica Babush Colney from ISO Municipal Corporation, currently working as the assistant architect who is taking in charge of all the solid waste management component of the municipal work. So I would like to express that yes, this environmental degradation has been a big issue, and coming to Aizawl as such also, even though we have been very proactive, because the people out here, let's say we generally host meetings or conduct seminars regarding the solid waste management, how we have to carry out, as well as the Swachh Bharat mission as well. So, but the people out here are very proactive in the sense we are very obedient in many ways, let's say. But at the same time, the amount of the waste that has been generated is enormous comparatively. And Aizawl Municipal Corporation has been taking up the work of solid waste management from the year 2016, where we were handling only the transportation and transportation of the waste. But right now, we have been given the duty of transportation, collection, and even processing. So I would like to give a general view of our waste in the year 2025, where waste has been generated throughout the year 2025 as wet waste is 777.88 TPD. So that's very enormous for a city as small as only having a population of just merely 4 lakhs. And then the dry is 1,420.41 TPD, that is ton per day. And then out of these, we are collecting for wet waste 488.29 TPD. So basically 62.78% of the wet waste has been collected. The rest is assumed, I should say, that it has been processed at the source, that is for piggery.